So today we're going to be looking at the French Lebel model 1886. This firearm was the first gun to ever shoot smokeless powder. This gun was effectively used from 1886 to World War II, and in some cases afterwards in colonial conflicts. This was used primarily in the First World War, as well as in French colonies all over the world. And what's interesting about this gun is it doesn't have a normal magazine like most bolt-action rifles. Because the idea of a magazine that was just right here in the receiver, it actually has a tube magazine. And one of the issues that most of you probably think of when you look at a tube magazine is the fact that the bullet is stacked in there with the primer. Well, what's different about this weapon is that the ammunition was manufactured to have little grooves around the primer so it could sit like this. That way, the tip of the bullet doesn't ignite the primer while it's sitting inside the magazine. The other interesting thing about the French Lebel is that it doesn't have a safety. This was because at the time of its development, the safety hadn't really been thought out by military designers. At this point, you would pretty much just have your officer tell you to load the rifle whenever you were ready to use it. So this is your safety, and not having ammunition inside the receiver is your safety. However, what's interesting is this gun did have a magazine cutoff. This means a magazine cutoff is off, and this is on. So you could do at your commanding officer's command, you could only fire. You'd have to put a single round in here, fire it, and then put another one in here. When the magazine cutoff is off, you would simply just have a stored magazine in here that you could pull out. You could use when your commanding officer told you to fire at will. So this was a technique really used to conserve ammunition in a obviously a military situation, especially when soldiers' ammunition was rationed to maybe 10 rounds a person. So we see this technique inaccurately used in the 1999 Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser, where the introductory battle scene has French Foreign Legion soldiers single-loading their Lebels and then reloading a round after each shot from their ammunition bandoliers. I assume this was done for dramatic effects, but in reality each soldier would have had 8 rounds kept in the magazine. And this particular rifle right here is an 1889. It is a model 1886 M93, which means it was modified in 1893 and to accommodate hotter rounds that were developed in the 1930s. It was additionally modified, denoted by these 2 end markers right here. Now, what I found about my particular rifle, in the magazine there is an issue where the brass won't fit because of the the deformed magazine holder, which is something that I'll have to fix at some point. But for the time being, the ammunition will have to sit on the elevator as well as on the inside the actual receiver. So the 86 Lebel has a 10-round magazine capacity. The magazine itself can only hold 8 cartridges. However, 1 can sit on this elevator here, and then 1 can sit inside of the receiver. So loading is as follows. Now, because there's an issue with the spacing on the magazine, I unfortunately cannot put all 8 rounds in here, but I can put 1 in here for now, and then I can also put 1 on the elevator. There you go. And there you go, it's chambered. Now, once one's on the elevator, you have to really slam this back in order to see the effect, and then it slides right in there. Now, the loading for this obviously takes a little bit longer than your average World War I bolt-action rifle, because you can just simply take a stripper clip and put it down in the magazine. So let's shoot a few rounds and see how accurate she is. As you can see, that the fact that the cartridge cannot fit in the magazine really causes issues with that elevator because it keeps getting stuck. So what I can actually do to mitigate this problem in the time being is I can turn the magazine cutoff on so that elevator is not constantly going down. See, when this is off, it goes like that. You know, the elevator, the cartridge elevator comes up, but I put this on, it's stuck like that. So we're going to put one in for single shot. And then this ammunition that I'm particularly using is the PPU, Privy Partisan, and they make French Lebel. And this gun has quite a kick to it, but it's really no worse than like a 30-06 or a 303. Because of the circumstances of this rifle, let's see how many I can just freeload with 4 rounds. Now what I'm going to do, because of the situation with the magazine not holding its full 8 rounds, I'm just going to do 4 rounds at the 25 yards, and then I'm going to do 4 rounds at 50 yards, and see how well she shoots. With the magazine cutoff on, so the elevator is not jumping up and down. And I'm not going to use an armrest, I'm just going to have it, you know, propped up like this. So because we're in Verdun in 1916, there are some German water bottles right there on the other side of the trench, about 25-30 yards away. Let's see if we can't hit those. Just grazed it, man. Took the top off of that one. See if we can't go for the red. Right through him. We still have one guy right there. Just missed him. to sort of wrap it up, this gun was a lot of fun. This is actually the first French firearm I've ever shot before and owned. And while it shot a little high and I had a problem with the magazine, I want to get those issues resolved, and then I want to take it out and do a little bit more target shooting, and maybe even do like a run and gun sort of thing, just to feel what it would be like to run around with this. Now, one thing I noticed was this gun shot very high. Now, that could be because the gun's old, it could be because there's a little bit of pitting in the barrel, it could be me. There's a lot of factors and variables that play into the accuracy of a rifle and the accuracy of the shooter. So there could be a lot of problems there, but it was a lot of fun, and I hope to take this out again soon. And the ammunition's not super expensive. So thanks for watching, guys.
Pour ces moissons de laurier et qui préside la fête, la joyeuse Massolo.